Radio. Tonight we have a new co-host, Travis, and we have two cosplayers on the show, April Martin and her brother Carl Martin. Carl is one of the heroes of cosplay, and he right now is having some technical difficulties. So let's start off with April. Hello, April.
Hi, nice to be here.
Thank you for coming to the show. And can you tell us a little bit about you, like how old you are?
I'm 28, and I currently live in Dallas, and I'm a freelance artist.
Now,
Yeah.
by freelance artist, what exactly do you do?
That can be anything from portraits to cosplay commissions to doing game art.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a full range of things. I never really get bored with what I do.
Now, is you and your brother own Shinka Studios?
Correct.
Now, what exactly is Shinka Studios?
It started off as a small cosplay group between us and several friends about 5 years ago. There were 5 of us, but over time, people's interests have changed, and so it's down to my brother and myself, and it's mainly a studio for us to do commissions for costumes and special effects.
Oh, so you don't just cosplay, you make stuff for other people.
Yeah, we actually make some money on the side making stuff for other people.
Now, what would you make for somebody else that was trying to get into cosplay?
Like, what kind of costume or a prop or something?
Yeah.
I guess it would depend a lot on what they're looking for. We've had people ask for anything from full Halo armor to monster suits to just helmets or maybe a small gem. So it depends on what they want to do, really.
Now, seeing how you brought up Halo,
hmm
um, do you, how much would just like the helmet of Master Chief cost?
Low end, probably do a helmet for about 200. A high end helmet might cost over 1,000. It depends a lot on how much detail is put into it.
I love my son, honey, but I don't love him $1,000 for it.
Yeah, because you can have really cheap visors, high end visors. You can even put in fans and lights and just go full out on it.
That sounds like completely amazing. Have you ever done like an Assassin's Creed?
No, that's actually outside of our skill range a little bit. We're more onto the hard props and special effects makeup stuff. We can sew, and I'm currently learning leatherwork, so that could be a possibility someday.
I know leather is really hard material to play with.
There's a steep learning curve. I'm actually building a costume for Dragon Con right now that's going to be complete leather armor.
Mm.
Which one is it? Can you say or not yet?
Yeah, it's the Nightingale from Skyrim.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's something I'm going to be very proud of when I get done with it.
Travis, do you have a question for her, hon?
What female cosplayer would you like to see more of at cons and everything like that? I know there's a wide range of females that go to cons and they cosplay as all different types of characters, but is there any particular female gamer or anime that you would like to see more of at these cons?
I have to admit that before the whole Heroes of Cosplay scene happened, I didn't pay much attention to some of the more popular cosplayers. It was more just me making stuff so I could go and compete and get photo shoots. I didn't really pay much attention to the more popular cosplayers. I mean, I knew about Yaya and Jessica and some of those other ones, and I'd been by their booths a couple times, but it seemed like they were doing their own thing.
You met Yaya?
Yeah, I've gotten to meet Yaya a couple times.
Um, as at a con, when you go for compete for when you compete for the cosplay, how's that whole process? Like, are y'all nervous? Trying to get everything together.
I think no matter how many times you compete, you're always going to be nervous. Because you pick something that, at least when we pick something to cosplay, we usually have a heart in it. And so by the time you get the cosplay done, or at least as done as much as you can, and you finally get to walk across that stage, it's a big relief, but you're always going to have butterflies in your stomach. Because you're afraid that something's going to fall off. I know before I get on stage, I'm always making sure everything's attached and velcroed, and my wig is okay, or my helmet's okay, and it's just, I look like a frantic mess before I step on stage.
Now, I have to ask,
hmm
how is Yaya in person?
She's a very sweet person, and she generally cares about cosplay and community, and her craftsmanship is amazing. You walk up to her and you're just kind of like in awe.
I think I kind of would faint. Which is amazing because I have been around some famous people in my lifetime,
hmm
but I honestly think I would just faint if I came across Yaya.
Yeah, the first time like I actually got to meet her, there was that awe struck in my eye, and now every time I do get to meet her, she's like, "Oh, hi, April." I'm like, "Oh my God, Yaya remembers my name."
Right. I had Gina B cosplay on.
Yeah, Miggy's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, friend, associate.
I don't know. I know she was on the show last week helping him with his cosplay.
hmm I think I
Um,
got to meet her when she was going out with him, and so that's why I associate it.
oh, okay. When I had her on, and she said that she was one of my followers,
Cool.
and it blew my mind. I mean, it's Gina B, and it was like, wow. When people come up and they say that they know who you are, does that blow your mind as well?
It does, because for me, cosplay is just about being able to create something and then potentially like show it off. But to have people come up and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're April. I love your stuff." I'm like, "Wow, thank you. This is kind of weird for me, but thank you."
Now, you appeared a little on the show with your brother
hmm
when he did the Silent Hill.
Yeah, the mannequin.
Yes. Now, how did you go about helping him with that, and how did it feel to be a part of that show with him?
It was interesting to be associated with the show, not as one of the primary cosplayers, but one of the helpers, more like. But that costume we had 3 days to make. And I think that is the shortest amount of time we've ever had on any costume we've attempted. But it involved foam and latex and tissue paper and straps and way too much PVC pipe. It was one of the hardest things we've had to do ever. I mean, we've built a life-size Jabba the Hutt, and that was easy compared to this creature.
I bet you had a longer time to make the Java though, right?
Yeah, I had about 2 months to make the Jabba the Hutt.
Now, is the Silent Hill the only one that was the hardest for you two to make?
Um, hey, is that Carl?
Yes, that would be a call.
He made it, yay!
And everybody,
Um,
Carl Martin
sure.
has joined in. Good evening, Carl,
Good evening.
and thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for having us on the show.
I'm glad you finally made it, Carl. I've said horrible things about you.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you would. Did you tell them about the seed incident?
What incident?
The when you put pepper seeds or jalapeno seeds on my straw trying to get me,
No, nothing like that.
or that I get like really bad poos with spicy food Thank you, April. Thank you for telling everyone that.
Nope, you just did it yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
So spicy
So-
foods really don't agree with you.
Nope, not at all.
So, Carl, they were just asking what was our most difficult cosplay ever.
Ooh, I'd say together was probably Jabba the Hutt. Alone, my necromorph was mine.
I want to
What
say
would you say,
alone.
April?
Yeah, for alone, my links would have to be mine because that would be the first time I'd used silicone in the fur application.
Yeah, I made over 30 molds for the necromorph cosplay, and then wearing it alone, I got it was almost just as bad as the mannequin.
Now, with a mannequin, how did you two go about building it?
I will let April start off on this one.
Well, I know that the heads, we used wig heads from Hobby Lobby, and I ended up coating them with a resin so they'd be nice and hard and paintable. And then the hands were actually cast from a hand mold that I had from my prior Lynx costume. We filled them with an expanding foam. I actually made the body, which was a whole bunch of sheets of bed foam with latex and tissue paper on it to give it that skin kind of look. And then Carl went about making the arms, legs, and the strapping system that went with that.
Yeah, it was a bunch of PVC rigging, pretty much all the way through the body that was attached to one spine piece. And in all, it was 9 arms, 6 legs, and 4 heads.
Wow. That
That was also
sounds,
the first time we put silicone on face or anything like that, so
that sounds like it was like really humongous in real life.
it was pretty big. I mean, we had to use my little wheelie chair to get me around. Old Wheelie, I called him.
Now, what does your parents think about both of you doing the cosplaying?
They've
It's
been
better
very
than doing.
supportive of it. Carl?
Yeah, we've had we've had our parents back us for a long time now because we started whenever we were around high school time. We've had our parents to back us up, and then they've seen what we've been able to do. Because the very first competition we entered as a group, as far as our studio went, we got best in show, which really drove us to try new things and try better things. Like overall, I know that I'm not the best cosplayer. I'm not a professional cosplayer, and I know that I have a lot to learn. But the point is, we're completely self-taught, and we're proud of it, and we're happy to share what we've learned with the world.
Do you think it's harder for self-taught cosplayers than what it is for somebody who has gone to sewing school?
I don't think so.
April?
I want to say no because you end up looking at things a different way. Because I've had to use my imagination to figure out how to create things, which there might have been a pattern out there, but knowing that I got to create it and it still looked like what I wanted it to without learning how to create it made me feel really proud of myself.
And, well, apparently we
Oh,
have
no.
some questions from the audience.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, sure. I like the audience.
Um, and if I pronounce anybody's name wrong, please forgive me. It's old age kicking in. Rena King says, how long will this be for? Normally 2 hours. It's going. Okay. Um, Devin Dunton.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Devin's
April.
my best friend.
Oh, okay. Because
I want to
April,
hear what he has to say.
you what?
I want to hear what he has to say because it probably has to do with something about swag or that I'm a butt. One of those two things.
Oh, no, it's actually nice. He wants April to tell some embarrassing stories about you.
Aw, of course that's nice. Thank you.
But I know you.
April, go
What?
Go
go
ahead,
right
April.
ahead.
Embarrassing
Tell an
stories?
embarrassing story.
How about all the
Yeah.
hundreds of times I've burnt you with a hot glue gun and all the different Silent
Okay,
Hill
so I've actually
costumes
got.
we've made?
Yeah, it's always a Silent Hill costume because the very first one we made, she ended up burning me. Fun fact about this last one with the mannequin: whenever she burnt me on the arm, it left a scar. But if you watch the episode that I'm in, you'll see that on my upper lip, I had accidentally burnt myself with a hot glue gun and left a little scab on there, and it
Forgot about that.
hurt so bad to talk.
Oh my. You, you know,
There's
Neosporin is really good for that.
Yeah. There's also the time where we were making another Silent Hill costume, and Carl was wearing really tight pants, and we had to coat them in latex. And the latex actually soaked through the pants and attached to his skin, so that when he had to pull the pants off, it tore off all of his hair.
Oh. Sorry. That sounds really painful.
Really funny.
We've actually had quite a few circumstances like that, but that's how we end up learning. We learn through pain.
It's a
And
good way to learn.
What was
Rena
that?
King asks Rena King asks how old you two are.
I
I'm
am.
28.
She's 28. I'm 23. We're 5 years apart, but she seems like she's younger than me. Just saying.
What? It's how you are at heart.
True.
That's me. You got to stay young at heart to be able to enjoy your life.
Of course.
Now,
Carl,
Yes.
Carl, you've I saw your Attack on Titan cosplay. How long did it take you to make that?
The entire thing probably took about a
Yeah.
day. That is the quickest I've ever made anything. Literally, it's not a bodysuit or anything like that. This is I actually have to get little constricting pants, and then I have nude short shorts that I wear, and then it takes about 2 hours of body paint to get me into it, all done by hand, and then makeup work, and the wig only took a couple hours to do, but other than that, I made the ears out of foam and latex, and it came together like really well. I like it.
I like it too. That's why I had to ask, man. I like Attack on Titan. I'm big. I'm really big in anime.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones, definitely. I actually, I kind of, I'm scared to show my body a little bit in cosplay. I'm not, I have self-esteem issues sometimes, so that's one of the ones I do show it in. That one in Titus, and I want to kind of do a couple more that show me, but I usually get in the groove of doing monsters and armor and things that just cover my face and cover my body.
Yeah, that's how I am too. When I cosplay, I go as Toby from Naruto all the time.
So I can tell you that one of my very first cosplays was actually a Naruto cosplay. Irony is, I did a kind of a modified Naruto where I did a fishnet opening up front, and I had drawn the symbol on his stomach and done makeup and everything, so I looked like I was going kind of into QB form, and it I liked it. It was one of my very first ones, and it's how I kind of connected to a lot of my friends.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Otakon?
No, I haven't, but I've always wanted to go. I have a group of friends that usually makes a trip up there, and they'll usually sell stuff at a table, but I've always wanted to go.
Hey, you should come check it out, man. Check it out. It's great.
Now, there's a new con that's coming up August 16th and 17th. Do you two think that you might go there?
Which con is that?
Video Gamers United?
Okay, I'm actually pulling up my schedule right now. Ba-ba, 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 and on August, nope, we're going to be at Anime Fest in Dallas on that weekend.
It's going to be a yearly thing, so hopefully you'll be able to get there next year then.
Of course, of course. This year for Anime Fest, though, the reason I have to go to it is I plan on competing in a Legend of Zelda group. We're trying to do the Seven Sages, and I said that I'd try to make Sage Darunia the Goron.
And what would you make that out of?
That would be sculpting out of clay and then molding and casting and then doing a brush-on latex with a polyfoam core.
It sounds like it's going to be a little complicated, right?
It's not actually as complicated as it sounds, but if you know the steps correctly, it's easy enough to do it. It's mostly that most people don't know what materials to use or how to get them.
And I'm going to jump in with a question from one of the viewers. Cassidy Whitlock says, I'm new to cosplay, and I'm cosplaying a troll from Homestock. I hope I said that right.
Yes, you did.
I was wondering if y'all had any suggestions for material to make horns out of.
I actually can tell you right now what to make your horns out of because I have cosplayed Homestuck before. So has April, and she was Carcat, and I was Male Feferi. My girlfriend cosplayed Vriska, and she's also been a Solux. And in the case of the the horns, you can actually take model magic and go ahead and sculpt them out. The problem with model magic is, though, that as soon as the clay starts to dry, it starts to crack. So after it cracks, what you do is you go back in with spot putty, and you take the spot putty, run it over, and then just do a little bit of sanding, and it works perfectly. And it's super easy, super fun. Just take some painter's tape after that, paint it up, and you're good to go.
Thank you. And Rena King says, oh wow, you guys look so young.
Thank you.
It runs in the family.
I have to agree. I thought you were like 18, Carl, and you were 19, April.
I'm good with that.
And your friend, am I saying his name right? Divine Dunton?
Devin Dutton.
Devin.
Devin.
Sorry. So sorry. April, and do you have any sort of art galleries?
Like a physical gallery?
I no clue. But
I have a website that I post all of my artwork on.
And what is the name of that, hon?
It would be moonwildflower.com. That's the name I use for everything, my cosplay name, my gamer tag, in the art community. It's all Moon Wildflower.
How did you come up with that name?
It's actually the name of a flower from a sci-fi book by an Australian author.
Cool.
I just needed a gamer tag one day, and that was the book I was reading, and I'm like, well, I guess that's who I'm gonna be.
And I like it.
It's different, although I'll be playing Halo and people will be screaming at me, and they'll be like, "Moon flower, wild moon flower thing, get over here."
This
So I take it you're a 360 girl.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of the console, but my boyfriend has gotten me hooked on PC lately.
I tried PC. That WASD wants to kill me.
Yeah, it took a while for my fingers to get used to it, but I think way too many hours of Minecraft have they've trained my hands.
I gave up. I'm like, give me a point and click game, and I will go in game with you. Other than that, no. So, Carl, how did you land a spot on Heroes of Cosplay?
My girlfriend pointed out that they were looking for applicants and that they were looking for guys. Now, the problem was, though, they were looking for guys in Los Angeles. But I applied anyways, and I guess that they liked my stuff and liked how I looked, and how I sounded, and how I carried myself, so they decided to fly me out and do like psych evaluations and everything, and then they told me where to go in and date me.
Oh,
Hmm.
and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I made a lot of friends.
I'm going to put this out for both of you. Rena doesn't specify, say exactly which one.
Hmm.
She says, Martin, are you on YouTube? She thinks that she knows you.
Uh, I We might be on a few YouTube videos and such. I don't know from our earlier con days, but we don't really post that much to YouTube.
We do have a YouTube channel for Shinka. We don't use it as often as we probably should, and I do have a personal YouTube as well, and I think I've done some videos with some friends.
Okay, and then we have another one from Cassidy Whitlock. And again, if I mispronounce anybody's name, please forgive me. She says, do you know if braces might impact a judge's some in cosplay contest? A judge's opinion, I think it's what she's trying to say. In a cosplay contest?
Overall, braces shouldn't. That's my opinion, because it's something that you, as a person, if you're wearing, you can't modify them, you can't take them off, anything like that. I know that I had braces for many years, and I I went through phases with the braces, and I know that I wouldn't want to be judged with or judged based on me having braces at a competition.
Yeah, I'd have to say no. Whenever I've ever judged, I just look to see how well they become that character. It doesn't matter about race to me.
Yeah. Wait, did you say braces or race? I'm so confused.
BRACE.
Okay.
Now, would the same thing go for stilts?
What was that?
Would the same thing go for stilts as braces for the judging?
For braces?
No, stilts.
Oh, for stilts.
Yeah.
If you're using stilts for a cosplay, I would actually probably give you points for like stilts if you're trying to be a bit taller and the character's a bit taller, because that just means that you put forth the effort.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience on Heroes of Cosplay?
Yeah, it was confusing to say the least, because most of the time you're just kind of told where to go and what's kind of supposed to happen, and you're just supposed to roll off of that. And I know that at some points in the show, they show me as a bit arrogant and I guess just full of myself. But the entire time, I tried not to act like that. I tried to just be happy and supportive of all the other cosplayers. And for some reason, like they found 2 clips that somehow made me look like that the entire time. I mean, I was as playful as possible to everyone, to the point where in my interviews, whenever there would be a boom mic in front of me, I'd be batting at it like a cat and just playing with it. Uh, Other than that, it was just a lot of fun to meet a whole bunch of good cosplayers and try to make friends and support everyone.
And we have another question from Tanya Martinez. How do you feel about your experience with the show? And then there's another one after that.
April, how do you feel about your experience with the show?
I'm glad that I got to help. It was interesting. I got to meet new people that I probably never would have without this experience. But I also don't really like reality TV as much anymore because I know what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's kind of the same for me. It ruined reality TV for me because a lot of it is pretty scripted, but at the same time, we try to get around it. I think that I was probably the worst of all the cosplayers because I'd essentially almost try to troll the producers. Like with the chocolate milk incident and things, that was me kind of just playing whenever they're trying to do something. And I know that seems kind of disrespectful, but you just want to try to get yourself and your personality across to the viewers and try to show who you are as a person.
I think we went in just to have fun and just to enjoy the experience because not very many people are offered something like this.
Exactly.
I actually liked the fact that you had the chocolate milk and that you blew bubbles in it on
I
TV.
did too. I thought that was genius.
Thank you, thank you. I can tell you right now that I was sitting down there and everyone was having serious conversation and things, and they asked me about the whole like, what do you cosplay and all this other stuff. Like, do you do comics and anime and things? And for some reason, they made it seem like I said something bad whenever I said that I cosplay from everything, like I cosplay anime and all that. So after a while, I just kind of zoned out a bit, and I sat there blowing bubbles in my chocolate milk. And one of the camera guys, who had been told to kind of watch the entire scene, he walks up to me afterwards and he goes, "Yeah, screw that. I decided to go ahead and just zoom in on you blowing your chocolate milk bubbles."
But good for him because I enjoyed that part. And the second half of Kate Tanya's question is, did it motivate you looking back on the episode to improve on on any certain things? And there's another one after that.
You want to go ahead and go first, April?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I can tell you right now that overall, I just want to take more time on things because part of the problem is they tell you where to go, but they don't tell you, or they tell you when or where you might be going, but they don't give you an official date. So you have only a window to do certain things. Like the mannequin, we only did in 3 days. That was only 3 days of work. We could have spent months on it, and it would have looked so much better. And then Haunt, I actually had 2 weeks to do, and so I went high detail into that one. If you look at any of my pictures of it, there's so much detail in it, but it just got drowned out on stage because I went too detailed with it. So overall, I want to take my time with what I make. And if you look at like my Raiden cosplay that I just got done, that took 3 months, and I made every single little piece down to like stenciling out the words on it.
Wow. And Travis is going to ask the last question from Kenya.
Okay.
Oh, give me a second and I will. But
It's near the top, honey.
to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I went too far. I went too far.
Yeah, she's the second one from the top. And now she's the third one from the top.
She's the third one from top. Man,
Yeah. She just put in another one.
questions just rolling in right now.
Let me finish this one, and then you could go on to the second and the top one, okay?
All right.
And then there's three waiting on behind her.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm having him do it is because he can see it better than I, so I want to keep it rolling along better. The last question that I'm reading off is, do you frequent the RPF forums at all?
I do. I'm actually on the RPF, and I like to post about what I'm working on. The RPF actually stands for the Replica Prop Forum. You'll find some absolutely amazing builds on there.
Yeah, I've tried to be on there, but right now I've had to kind of take over social media for a lot of what we do as far as Twitter, Etsy, and everything else, so I never find time to do that anymore, which is sad. I really should.
And thank you for clarifying what that was. I was like, what?
You're welcome.
So afraid I read it wrong. And Travis, did you find the next question on?
From Martinez.
No.
No,
From-
this is from Devin Dutton,
Yes.
and it's to both of you. That's the question I'm asking, right?
Yes, sir.
If you could change one thing in the cosplay community, what would you change?
I can tell you right now that I would change all of the drama and hate in the cosplay community. There's just too much seclusion and just bereavement and hatred out there right now. I actually was scrolling through some of the comments on some of my stuff on Heroes of Cosplay Facebook, and there was literally people that were saying, I can't wait to meet this guy at a con to tell him to his face that his work sucks. How could you say that to anyone? Why would you walk up to somebody that you have no idea what their life is about, what they stand for, no one, like, somebody that you just haven't met before, and say that to them? I can't understand it, and it hurts me, and I just really wish that people would be more kind and loving in the community, and so that's kind of what I'd change, and what I stand for is, love thy cosplayer.
You speak of you. Is there really that much hate in the cosplay world right now?
I'll go ahead and let April answer that part.
There can be certain dramas that happen. Certain people feel that other people shouldn't cosplay based on their appearance. They don't feel that they look enough like a character, and so that can lead to some hate. But I've always felt that if you like a character and you want to bring part of that character to yourself. Just be that character. It doesn't matter what other people say about it.
Yeah, whatever you make, you be happy about it. And I just want the community to be happy with themselves and to accept everyone.
Love yourself. Bring peace and unity in this cosplay. I really didn't see that. All my years cosplaying, going to different cons on the East Coast, it's like a family gathering. It's like everybody knows each other. We get along really well. So to know that it's actually out there is mind-boggling to me, for real.
Yeah, I think it exists mainly on the internet where people can hide behind anonymous names and stuff. So that's where I've seen the gist of it.
Yeah, me too. And it's really horrifying, and it kind of just puts a knot in my stomach.
I know I was watching one of the Heroes cosplays, I think first season, and the girls were in Georgia, I believe, and some of the people there were yelling at them and booing at them because they came to their town to cosplay in the contest and told them that they didn't belong there. And I've said this like a million times, and I'll say it again. Bullying is wrong. Cyberbullying and Facebook bullying is wrong, and people just need to stop it, grow up, and accept people for who they are.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Hmm.
Is there another question, honey?
Yes. This is a two-part question from Kaylee Irvin. Um, are you going to Fan Expo in Toronto at the end of August?
Unfortunately, that is a no. Before the show, we actually didn't travel that much to conventions. We've been kind of lacking in money, and we've only been a guest a couple times before. After the show, though, we've gotten invited to quite a few, but still money is an issue for us. And so, like, if a con actually helps us get out there, we're perfectly fine getting out there. Or if we have a table where we can actually make some money so that we can get back and forth, we can definitely go. But if it's just going to a con that's that far away from Texas, it's really hard for us. We're just regular cosplayers. We're not professionals. We don't make a living off of it. All we do is love our craft and go to conventions and show off what we can do.
No, do you think that's going to change now that you guys have been on Heroes of Cosplay?
uh, Possibly. We'll see. So far, I've seen kind of mixed reviews of our work. Whenever they actually look at the stuff we've made in the past, it seems that they really like it. So that's good. And even if there's hate coming towards us, there's some kind of publicity going towards us, which means that cons will kind of seek us out. I've already gotten invited to at least 3 or 4 cons in the next month or two alone.
One thing haters don't realize is the more that they hate and mention you, the more people are going to go and look for you to see what it's all about. So they're actually
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
right. In the long run, they're
That's what
helping.
I heard. Yeah, I just hope that when they actually do seek us out, they see the stuff that we've done and see that we only preach love and acceptance.
No, Travis, is there some more questions on?
Oh yes. The second part to the question is she's new to cosplay and she's going to be cosplaying as, oh man, I haven't played Pokemon in forever, so this I'm gonna butcher this name. Parachute from Pokemon. Do you have any suggestions on how to make the tail?
Can you spell it?
Pachirisu.
Oh, Pachirisu.
Thank you.
That's how I pronounce it. Patrizu is insanely fluffy, and I would recommend. Let me actually look up the character real quick, and I can tell you how I do it, which would be so much easier. Pachirizu.
Well, you're looking it up. I want to go back a couple of talks. Anyhow, we were talking about making cosplays. I actually tell people, and I've had on a lot of cosplayers, that I like it best when they put their own personality into it and that they don't, follow it to the T. Like they punk it out a little bit with a steampunk, or they add a little sparkle here to it. I think it makes the costumes pop out more when they do that.
True.
But, that's just me.
Yeah. So for Pachirizu, I would recommend something that my girlfriend actually did. She did Makoto from Blaze Blue, however you want to pronounce it, and she actually took I think it was a felt, and she sewed it into the shape of a squirrel tail, and then she would create a harness on her back to where it would attach to her belt, and then a fishing wire would loop around the bottom part of it so that it would stay up, and then you just hook it into your back where your bra strap is, and then it's just filled with a ton of fluff. You can use insulation fluff for that, and it works perfectly.
And the next question.
It's from Raina King. It really bothers me when any of these people on the show lose. Does it really bother you when the others lose?
April, you want to go first?
You can go, Carl. It's okay.
No, you go. Come on. Don't just sit there. Come on. You got this.
The question was, does it bother me if they lose?
Does
Yes.
Does it bother you when others lose?
I guess it depends on what they were wearing and the skill set. Because we've done some judging before, so I've gotten an eye to kind of figure out who deserves to win in certain contests based on who's competing. So if I do see someone that put in a lot of work, you can definitely tell that they deserve some form of recognition. Yes, it can kind of depress me.
See, I have a problem with certain cons that don't have prejudging. If you don't have prejudging, like most Wizard World cons don't have prejudging, you can't tell who really made their costumes or how they made them. So they literally could have bought 99% of it and just modified that one little percent, while somebody else who created a amazing cosplay 100% all by hand is basically just put in the background, which completely sucks for the cosplayer. Because I know that we've done a life-size Jabba the Hutt before, and we didn't win anything for that, and I know that that bummed us out. But other than that, yeah, I completely agree with April.
Now, cosplaying, you know, it goes. I know it's a two sided of the same coin type of thing, but somebody that bought their outfit rather than make their outfit, how do you feel about that?
Sometimes people just don't have the skill set to make stuff, and if they just want to be the character and wear it, that's fine. They're going to enjoy being the character. That just doesn't often fly when it comes to competition, but there are rules that state you have to make a certain amount of your costume to compete. So it doesn't really bother me. I
Yeah.
sometimes have to commission people to make certain things for me because I have no skills whatsoever when it comes to wigs. So I have to have my friends make them for me.
I have the same problem. I usually wigs or something like that I usually can't do. other than that, yeah, if you want to cosplay a character and you're not doing a competition or anything, or even if you are doing a competition, go ahead and buy stuff for it. It's just that to be qualified for an award in most competitions, you will have had to make at least 80% of your costume for a craftsmanship award. But other than that, if you want to go up on stage and work in a costume, or you just want to walk around in a costume, it doesn't matter. Just go out there and have fun, be the character, and do what you want to do.
Now, what would you two think about somebody much old enough to be your mom or your father going into a con and dressing as a cosplay?
I've actually tried to get our father to cosplay before because he looks exactly like the Führer from Fullmetal Alchemist, even
Oh,
with the
that's what's up.
mustache
That is
and
what's up.
everything. He looks so much like him, it's scary. Like, I've held up a figure to him before, and it looked exactly like him. I really want him to cosplay him. And sometimes some of the very best cosplayers are the older ones, because they can pull off those characters that you just never see. Like, there are a couple younger cosplayers that will cosplay older characters that pull it off so well. Like I wanna throw out Overbeck. He does some amazing cosplays. Like he does a Hohenheim that is out of this world. I love it.
It, more questions, Travis? On
Um, Cassidy Whitlock says, Carl, do you have any chocolate milk right now?
I have a full container in the fridge. I actually regularly do drink chocolate milk. I try to stay away from juices and things as much as possible, so I just like milk.
And Andros the Traitor, do you regret being a part of Heroes of Cosplay?
There are pieces and parts that don't sit right with me with the things that they've done or the things that happen at cons because I've actually gotten messages from people saying what happened behind the scenes when I wasn't there or that I wasn't aware of. Like at the New Orleans convention, they make everyone wait for such an extended amount of time that people end up just leaving, and it's or they try to retape something sometimes, or just little things that end up making it not as good for the people at the actual convention. So I feel like sometimes they end up stepping on toes and hurting the cosplayers in the community, and I really don't like that. But I'm usually not aware of it until after we've taped.
All right. Aside from that, um, this is well. How do y'all feel about steampunk cosplay?
April?
It's not really for me. The aesthetic just doesn't really do anything for me. I've done some artwork, commission stuff for people with steampunk, so I understand everything about it, but it's just not a style that works for me. I mean, some of the
Yeah.
stuff I've seen can be really great. I appreciate all the leather work and the brass work, but to each their own.
I like certain characters as steampunk characters, and I can really appreciate when somebody takes like a complete suit of armor and steampunks it out in the right way. But just throwing some gears on something sometimes just doesn't work. But if you take like a Ghostbusters costume and you deck the entire thing out, put gears all up through the pack and everything, and it lights up, then it looks absolutely amazing, and more power to you.
and is there some more questions on?
gotta check for the more question thing. But for both of you,
Hmm?
um, do you have a favorite show or anime that you know draw inspiration for, you know, during your cosplay?
I actually, most of my cosplays are video game based, so I look to them mainly for characters to do.
Whenever I think of drawing inspiration from anything, I think about Goku, and I think about the struggles he had to go through, and how he had to struggle to bring back Krillin so many times, and I just channel Goku.
Uh, my
I was
son
just,
would get along with you.
I was just
Goku
playing
is
Dragon
Well,
Ball Z today.
Goku is my son's most favorite Dragon Ball Z character.
see,
Him and
I
Gohan.
love Goku. Gohan is actually my favorite, but he's only my favorite up until the battle with Cell, because that's my favorite fight right there is Gohan versus Cell, and then after that, I don't like Gohan as much anymore, which sounds horrible,
Thank
but
you.
exactly. After that, it becomes Trunks for me. I love Trunks.
And he's cute. Well, I think he's cute. Did you find the questions, Travis-san?
Uh, from Martinez, for both of you, this is for both of you. What is your favorite material to work with?
Liquid plastic. I like to sculpt things out of like an oil-based clay, and then do a silicone mold, and then do a slush cast of a two-part liquid plastic which cures or dries into a hard white plastic which you can sand and paint. I do a lot of my props and helmets out of that.
Now, is that really good for um, beginners?
No, it is not a beginner thing, because it's really messy, it's really expensive, and it's temperature sensitive and time sensitive. For beginners wanting to make hard props, I'd almost recommend working with foam first, or even upgrading from that to go to fiberglass and resin, and then finally getting to a smooth cast, which is the two-part plastic.
Yeah, from watching Face Off, I've learned a lot about, well, not learned, but, well, I don't know. Anyhow, about prosthetics. I think I said that right.
Prosthetics, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Do you guys have like the molding equipment at home to make any of those, or do you have to send that out?
Everything we do prosthetic-wise, we do at home in a garage or on a patio, and it usually involves taking a face cast of yourself or somebody else, sculpting on top of that, doing a plaster mold over that, and then depending on what you're going to do, you can pour in the silicone or latex, and then one day we hope to actually upgrade and do a certain kind of latex that you actually bake, and it becomes nice and spongy, and it blends into the skin for some really high-quality prosthetics.
That's it's pretty good. I do have one question,
Mhm.
Carl.
Yes.
Being on a real TV, like I can't even think of what they're called anymore. Um, being on Heroes of Cosplay, do they pay the cosplayers to come on it, or is it a volunteer thing?
Uh, they do help us get to cons and things, but other than that, it's not enough to really live off of.
At least they help you get to the cons, right? And they're helping you get your name out there. That's positive.
Of course, of course.
Is there more questions, Travis, hon?
And a king, I feel like the show doesn't focus on the fun part of cosplay. Would you agree?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. All the yes. Literally 99% of the show that you didn't see was me goofing off. I would run into the hotel room and jump up and down on the bed. I would play with the mics. I would hide things from the cast. I would try to make it so that there are little Easter eggs in it that you didn't see, and just all these fun little things. I would quote the hell out of everything to see if anyone would get any of it. Whenever I did the squats in Haunt, I was referencing Zack from Final Fantasy VII. Like little things like that. 99% of the show, I did that, and they cut out so much of it.
Oh, that's sad.
Andros the Trader. Anyone have you read or watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I can tell that my buddy Devin is laughing right now because he keeps telling me to read it. Have you, April?
I've heard friends talk about it a lot, and they're all planning cosplays from it, but I haven't seen anything about it yet.
Yeah, I need to sit down and watch it.
I've watched one episode, and there's a lot of things to take from that, especially if you're doing cosplay. It's a lot of things. I should watch it more, but I have a list of anime that I'm watching right now.
Oh, believe me, we all do. We all have that list. We all have anime lists, manga lists, and cosplay lists. And video game lists.
Oh yeah, video game list. Video game list is growing with
Oh, yeah.
this whole new Xbox One and PS4 and the Wii U.
Now, what would both of you say was your most favorite cosplay you have made done to date?
Carl?
So far, I'd have to say that it's kind of a tie between Haunt and Raiden because I know how much detail is in each of them and how much work is put into each of them. And probably it's actually Raiden because it's such a mixture of so many different things. It's fabric, it's prosthetics, it's makeup work, it's good wig work. I have EVA foam armor, I have centroplastic armor, I have cast things. Literally, it's kind of a culmination of so much that I've learned.
How old were you two when you started to cosplay?
I was probably about 20. A friend
I
told me about a convention up in Dallas that she wanted to go to, and we went together, and that started it all for me.
Yeah. As soon as April started to cosplay, I was kind of in the background a bit and wasn't involved as much. So I waited a year or two, and I didn't start until I was 18.
And Carl, if Heroes of Cosplay invited you to come back next season, would you?
You want to know what? Yes, I would. Because even if it doesn't do anything for my cosplay career, I still had a ton of fun. I still met so many great people, and I would still try to troll the producers as much as possible because it's so much fun trying to just play around on the set.
April, will
Mhm.
you be appearing on the show again as well?
I don't know, because the last episode I was on, that was more of a, oh, I'm going to go out and help Carl thing. So I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to focus more on the business side of Shinka and focus on commissions and making my own costumes. it was a little too stressful for me, even though I wasn't on camera that much. So,
She wasn't there for like any of the interviews or anything like that. I would have loved to have her there. Like, I felt so without anyone and just alone whenever I do interviews because I'd be sitting in a room and talking to one of the producers and just basically having a conversation with them. It would have been so much nicer to have April there with me so that we could have bounced off of each other and done our fun sibling thing.
Do you have any well, with the animes that are coming out, uh, that have been coming out, do you have any plans on making brother and sister, you know, cosplay together?
we've actually cosplayed together several times. And sometimes, we'll go off and do our own thing, but sometimes we'll come back. Like, we're currently talking to each other about doing a cosplay from Battle Angel Alita. They're not brother and sister, they're more clones of each other, but one's male and one's female. So we thought that would be a potential right there.
Cassidy Whitlock asks, do you either of you like Legos?
I actually use Legos a lot in my mold making. They work really well to build the box for molds.
I was going to say the same exact thing.
Favorite games? Who has a favorite game?
uh, so I think that April and I kind of share one of them. It's called Chrono Trigger, and the reason for that being is for me mainly because I'd wake up early in the morning whenever I was a kid back in Germany. I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I'd run down to the basement where April would be playing Chrono Trigger, and I kind of sucked at reading at the time, so he would read it to me as it was playing, and it was one of the very first games that I really, really liked, and I went back and played it myself, and I love it to death.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is one of our favorite games. We also enjoy Halo. Anything along the first-person shooter kind of thing, or any really good RPG. Final Fantasy IX is a big one for me, too.
Oh god, we love Final Fantasy IX.
And actually, little known fact, during the most recent episode, I actually went to that convention and I competed against Carl and the other people, but they never showed me in the episode. I was the Black Bolt 3 from Final Fantasy IX.
That was actually one of our trollings right there. Was we didn't tell the producers that April was gonna be there until April was actually there.
Oh man.
Yeah, they freaked out a little bit, and they actually filmed me, and they filmed a couple segments that they could have used for the story, but I don't think they got enough, which is why they didn't show it in the episode.
Oh gosh, they had a full meeting that night to talk about how April showed up, and they didn't expect her to show up.
So how did that meeting go?
They were
Was it
basically just sitting in the lobby like, so we have a problem, and they tried to figure out how to integrate it into the story.
Mm.
What was the problem with her showing up? I don't understand.
It didn't fit in with what we were trying to shoot, I guess.
Uh, okay. I suppose I can kind of understand that. Now, you said that you like first-person shooters,
Hmm.
April?
Yeah.
Does that go along with Call of Duty?
I've played Call of Duty a couple times. It's not my thing. I prefer more Halo. I've gotten into Titanfall recently. I prefer more of a sci-fi fantasy aspect to my games.
Have you tried Warface?
No, I have not.
I highly recommend that.
Okay.
It's not really sci-fi-ish. It's a mixture. What I call a mixture of Call of Duty and Battlefield put
Hmm.
together. And they have a multiplayer co-op, and then they have online. I kind of like
Kinda is an understatement. She loves it.
it.
But Daniel Wright uh, asks, have you ever played or beat Metal Gear Rising?
Okay, so I'm about halfway through the game because I chose to cosplay Raiden before I had beaten the game, and while making the costume, I sat there with my buddy Devin, who's actually watching this right now and feeding you guys questions, uh, and he'd be playing it, and we would switch off every once in a while things while I was working on the actual costume.
Now, playing the game and then making the cosplay. Did you know what you was getting into when you did that?
What do you mean?
Because there's a lot of people out there that I played Sons of Liberty. That was my first. Well, it wasn't my first Metal Gear, but that Metal Gear made me like shy away from gaming for a while because I beat it and the ending sent me into a major mind collapse of everything else that I was doing in my life. But now there's some people that just like they like Snake, and there's some people that don't like they didn't like Raiden, and I'm like, well, they're both Metal Gear, they're both cool, and just deal with it. But when you played Rising and you made the cosplay, did you go back for other ideas for what Raiden might look like?
Bro, I have two words. Cyborg butt. People absolutely love.
So I know the audience probably would like to know, what is it like sitting and talking with Yaya Han?
I'm sorry, I just got back. My internet messed up for a second. What's up?
I'm quite sure the audience would like to know, what is it like sitting and talking with Yaya Han?
So I want to tell you guys about last time I saw Yaya. We went to her hotel room at Icon to hang out with her and just talk. And we talked about the show a little bit and all this other stuff. And we talked about one thing in particular, and that was the whole cosplay queen, cosplay ambassador thing. I can tell you right now that that's not Yaya's thing. That's not what she's about. Okay, she doesn't like that the show throws that term around. She wants to be part of the community and just support the community in the best of ways. when there's such negativity about her and about those terms. Literally, she was basically curled up into a ball on her bed, and it's really sad what the community can do. And that's kind of how I was talking about the drama earlier. She's a wonderful person, and she has such a great heart. She's willing to go out of her way for the smallest thing to help anyone. And she's just a lovable ball of fluff.
I know in one of the episodes, in season 1, she was talking to one of the girls, trying to talk them out of sexing up their cosplay. Another big name, I'm not going to mention her name, but another big name had told her that, sex it up, it's cool, do this, show your womanness. And Yaya was trying to explain that, there's a different way to go about showing your womanness without putting it in people's face. Now, I actually had to applaud her for helping her and trying to guide her in the proper way of going about showing yourself. Because there's ways to be sexy and in your face, and then there's ways to be sexy and be ladylike about it. Would you agree? April O'Caro?
Yeah. I guess it just depends on who you are and how you feel about your body and how confident you feel. Because I've done some slightly, I guess you could say, sexy cosplays, but I've never gone as far as other people would. That's just because I feel more confident wearing armor. But it also goes along the lines that some of these professional cosplayers that want to show a bit more skin, they're also basically selling a product and a brand, and if that's how they do it, then that's how they do it. They know what they're selling. And Carl disappears.
Well, I kind of felt sorry for the girl, because when she finished her costume and she was getting towards the stage, she kept on trying to pull it down so it wasn't showing her how
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say, I think I heard that she actually wasn't supposed to compete in that. That she had made that just to wear at the convention, and then she got persuaded to compete in that. So.
Ah. Travis, is there any more questions from the viewers?
Oh yes.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Welcome back.
April,
Mm-hmm.
you're so well spoken. So why are you so camera shy? From Rain and King.
I'm wondering, are they referring to the actual show? Why I didn't show up much?
I'm guessing so.
Well, I wasn't an official. I was there as Carl's helper since I had helped construct the costume, and he definitely needed someone there to get him around the convention, because Carl and I have always had this deal that if one of us does a really difficult cosplay, the other one will be there to help the other one get around, because most of the time you can't sit down, you can't carry things, and you have to have a support. So I was there as his support. But from time to time, when I do my own costumes, I do enjoy getting out on the floor, competing, doing photo shoots, and the like.
Now, you say you like wearing a lot of armor. Have you cosplayed as Ezra from Fairy Tail?
I've never read or seen Fairy Tail.
Oh.
He needs to.
I think I watched like the first part of one episode, and it really doesn't do anything for me.
I've read the entire manga and it is wonderful and she needs to read it.
It's great. I love it.
Sorry, I have too many games to play right now to read manga.
So are you going to get Destiny?
Yes, I would like to pick up Destiny eventually. I'm a big fan of Bungie, and I'd like to see what they do with this new world.
I'm a big fan of Bungie too. It's just, oh man, the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little, hesitant because I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this as like the next Halo thing, and I'm going to go in with an open mind and really see what new things they could have done with this game.
Well, from my personal opinion, I feel like it's more of a Borderlands.
Yeah, I kind of got that feel watching some videos with it. It seems to have a little bit of an MMO aspect to it as well.
Yeah. Cassidy Willock says, "But do you ever play with Legos?"
When we were little, we actually lived in Germany. And I remember between the ages of about 10 to 15, every year for Christmas, I would get one of those humongous, epically expensive Lego sets that were castles and dragons. And so I'd build them up, and then I think Carl started getting into it too, so we would have like 5, 6, 7 castles built up with dragons, and then we'd destroy them and try to rebuild them again and end up having to use the instructions anyway.
Carl and April,
Yes.
Mhm.
what advice can you give to someone who has been cyberbullied?
What was that again?
It
Can you
has been
repeat it?
what?
What advice can you give to people who are being cyberbullied?
Oh,
Bullied?
cyberbullied. Carl?
I can tell you right now is the best thing you can do is create a support circle around you and basically ignore it. Okay, it's really hard whenever you have people talking about you or bad things like that are going on around you. I know I've had it happen to me before, and it is horrible. The best thing you can do is to have people there for you and have that support circle.
Yeah, I'd have to say that since this experience, I've stayed off of 4chan because I don't want to know what trolls could be possibly saying about us. And even just seeing some of the comments on the Heroes of Cosplay page, they're a little upsetting, but these are people who, again, have no idea the actual circumstances that all this happened upon, and all we can do is just hopefully help them understand, and if not, I'd like to say ignore them. As my boyfriend says, haters gonna hate.
That's good advice.
I'm sorry. The reason why I laughed was because I was thinking of Starfire from Teen Titans Go.
How many contests would you say that you have entered? And out of them, how many have you won?
I think we've entered maybe somewhere between 10 and 20 contests, and won about 10 major awards. We won everything from Best Group to Masters, Judges Awards, won Best in Show, as Carl mentioned previously. It's been a little bit of everything.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with how our costumes have been accepted by the judges and the audiences.
Are we talking about the awards that we've won?
Yeah, like how many conventions we've entered.
Oh yeah, we've entered quite a few, and most of the time end up winning at least something.
Now I know cosplay is a really big thing, especially at a con. But besides from entering the contest and everything like that, what do you enjoy or makes you upset about going to cons?
I enjoy the camaraderie, especially backstage before getting up on stage. Everyone's just trying to help everybody calm down, getting water for them, talking to them, being excited about what they're wearing. Because I've gone backstage before in a cosplay contest, and I'll talk to these people and I'll learn all these new techniques that I can't wait to do for myself.
I remember at New Orleans, the one from this last episode, I actually had pretty much that happen where, yes, the camera crew was on me around, but I'd seriously just sit there and talk with as many people as possible, which is usually what I do. I just try to make friends at conventions, and even at this last ACON, I'd walk around and I'd congratulate people if they won an award. I'd talk to everyone, ask them how they did something, and it's just a lot of fun getting to know people and to congratulate someone on a good cosplay or to just thank them for them liking what you made.
What advice can the two of you give to someone just starting out in cosplay?
Don't be overambitious. Don't be afraid to just start out with a closet cosplay, which is basically finding jeans and a t-shirt and like going to Goodwill. Find stuff like that. Pick easy characters and then slowly over the conventions you go to generally start learning new skills. Be like, this time I'm going to learn how to sew really complicated outfits, and the next time I'll learn how to sculpt and mold, and then just keep progressing like that. And don't be afraid to ask for help either. Because we've had to ask other cosplayers before when we see them do something like, oh my god, how did you do that? Please let me know. And then you learn and you make new connections within the community.
Now, is there some more questions, Travis?
Cassidy Whitlock asks, what are your favorite fandoms?
Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy IX, Halo, Battle Angel Alita. Carl?
That's a wonderful question because I'm basically Tumblr in a bag. I kind of dip into every fandom as much as possible. I've gone into Supernatural, I've gone into MLP before, I've gotten into Homestuck before, I have Halo, Chrono Trigger, everything April just said. I Fairy Tail, I like Attack on Titan. Pretty much if it exists, I at least know a little bit about the fandom.
And Kylie Irving, would you try cosplaying something out of your comfort zone?
Yes. I like to do that at least once a year so I can learn a new skill and at least, get something different in my cosplay portfolio.
Yeah, we most of the time whenever we do a new cosplay, it will involve a new technique or something. So we're usually going out of the comfort zone with every new cosplay, but I don't know what would actually be considered out of our comfort zone. What do you think, April?
I know our comfort zone usually involves molding, casting, and like special effects makeup. I know for myself, like leather work, that's outside my comfort zone, and so I've started learning that for one of my newest costumes. And then another one I'm working on, which is Noah from Skydoll, that's going to involve a lot of appliques and quilting, which I've never done before. So I'm hoping that one turns out okay.
Is there some more questions, hon?
Daniel Wright asks, do you guys use smooth on products?
Yes, I basically live there. There's actually one 10 minutes down the road from me, and they know me by name now.
And the second part of that question is, if so, what are your favorite products to use?
For silicone, I like Umu, which is a really good silicone. You don't have to really degas it, so you don't get a lot of bubbles. You just do a high pour, which means you mix it together, and you hold your cup really high, so it's a nice long stream, and then it'll hit the object you're molding, and you don't have to worry about bubbles forming. For the plastic, I like Smoothcast 320, I believe. And then you can do cold casting, which is where you mix metal powder in with the Smoothcast and creates metal effects. There's silicones that they have for special effects makeup. and it's like a playground in there. You can go in and just you touch all these things and you wonder what you can make with them.
Now, before you got on Heroes of Cosplay, there was another show on Sci-Fi, Face Off.
Hmm.
Did you enjoy that show?
I'm actually
Yeah, Carl?
friends with a lot of people on Face Off. I'm friends with Tyler, and there are a couple of people from the older seasons that I'm friends with too. I've met Graham before. I met Nico and his other half. I've met Eric Z and all of them. It was actually a lot of fun. I got flown out, and there just so happened to be a monster making convention at the hotel I was staying at for one of my interviews, and all of them were there, and they invited me out to eat and everything, and to go party, and it was a lot of fun meeting them.
Yeah, I think we used to watch that show whenever it came on, so we could sit there and be like, "Oh, I know what they're doing over there," and "Oh my God, they're using that material," and "Oh my gosh, why are they doing that?"
I still watch that show, April, every time it comes on.
I really like that show. I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think I really like it too because it shows a lot of the process and how they create everything.
Yeah.
I wish Heroes of Cosplay was a little bit like that.
Now, have either of you done a full body paint cosplay before?
That closest thing would be my Titan Aaron.
And you, April?
Oh no, I've never done anything close to body paint. Like I said, I prefer armor. The more covered I am, the better I feel about my costume.
Oh,
Same.
would you ever do Cortana?
No. However, I have considered doing Mystique from the X-Men movies.
And Carl, would you consider doing a Master Chief at all?
Carl? He's actually done Caboose from Red versus Blue, and he's a Spartan too. So
Okay.
Sorry, guys, my internet keeps dipping out on me.
It's no problem, honey. I know what it's like. I've got DSL by CenturyLink, and they are the worst.
Yeah, we were just talking about Halo. I can go ahead and tell you guys that my next project I'm currently working on is the Infected Halo 4 Spartan.
Oof.
Yeah, I just got done
I gotta see that. I
sculpting
gotta
and
see that.
molding. Yeah. Go ahead and keep up with me either on Twitter or Instagram, and I usually post progress pics on there all the time, and on Facebook too. And like most of my stuff I post is progress pics. You can see how I do things. I just got done sculpting and molding the claw, and after that, a friend actually is doing the armor, and then I'm gonna do sculpting over the armor, and that's gonna be the latex and polyfoam as well, and then everything airbrushed.
It sounds pretty nice.
It's gonna look amazing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cassidy Whitlock asks, "Do you ever write fan fictions?"
There was a time and a place, but it is not today. I used to do stuff like that all the time. Um, like I used to be a part of an anime club and everything back in high school, and all.
And I think we lost Carl again.
yeah, he's been jumping in and out. I know I've never written fan fiction before. I used to do fan art kind of things, but no fan fiction.
So when you did fan art, did you ever upload to DeviantArt by any chance?
Yeah, I have a DeviantArt account too.
And what is that, honey?
It's also Moon Wildflower.
Now, when you do commissions,
Yeah.
do you have like just one certain size that you will do the artwork in, or
No, I like to discuss it with the person that's commissioning it. Sometimes they like smaller pieces. Sometimes they like bigger pieces on canvas. Like I'm currently working on a Doctor Who portrait. It's got the Eighth Doctor plus all of his companions, and that's a 24 by 36 size canvas, and I'm doing it all in oil. So it depends on location, price, and what they want.
it's pretty cool. Now, what's the biggest that you've done, and what's the most popular that you've done?
I want to say the 24 by 36 is the biggest I've done so far for commissions, because a lot of these commissions involve me mailing the piece out, and that would get too expensive on both our parts. Plus, I'd be worried about the painting in transit. I actually did a painting for my brother several years ago, which was like 4 foot by 5 foot, and it was a Spartan with the laser cannon. So that's probably one of the biggest paintings I've ever actually done, personally or commission.
Now, when you send them out, do you put them already in a frame and ship them in a box that way, or
I guess it depends on what they want. If they want me to buy a frame or pick out a frame and buy a frame and then put it in there for them, I will. But most of them have just been, they just want the canvas as is, and so I'll build a box for it. And I make sure that the paint is actually dry before I ship it too.
now do you only paint, or do you do drawings as well, sketches?
Yeah, I'll do sketches. I do paint, sketches, pastel is another thing I really enjoy working with too.
Have you ever done logos or something like that? Commissioned for somebody?
I've right after I got out of college, I did a couple logo designs for some family friends, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Logo design is more of a graphic design for me, and I'm more of an illustrator.
Is there any more questions, son?
Rena King asked, "How did you and Mohawk get so close?"
Carl, are you gonna be on long enough to talk about it, or do I have to?
Me and who?
Miggy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Miggy. Yeah, I love Miggy. We just started going to cons and things and met and bromance from the beginning.
Yeah, I think when they first initially met each other, like we were in the lobby of the hotel in Florida, and they looked across the way at each other, and you could just see that they instantly hated each other. But then when we got up to the room, one of the producers was like, "Hey, this guy, Miggy's across the hall from you," and Carl thought Miggy was another Mickey that he had met through the company in California, and he was like, "Yeah, me and Miggy were best friends," and so the Miggy from downstairs came across the hall to our room and opened the door, and they're like, you, and then an epic bromance was formed.
Yeah, whenever we were down in the lobby, we kind of did that whole anime glare where the like top and bottom just like get shorter, and we that happened, and then we opened the door, and he went, "You were that pretty boy," and I go, "You were that grungy mofo." He had some choice words put into the pretty boy.
Mm.
Is there another one, hon?
Rena King asks, "How would you do Cortana without being almost naked and it still look legit?"
Bodysuit of some sort. I've seen some amazing things done with dragon skin, which is the same silicone Carl used with his haunt. possibly do a really thin layer of dragon skin. It'd be really cool if you could actually put LEDs in it so it actually would look and glow like Cortana.
It's pretty legit.
Now,
I've actually... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, honey.
I was going to say, at one of my first conventions at A-Kon, a friend and I were actually competing in our Halo armor, and there was another friend from the 405th, which is a big Halo group we're a part of. It was him and his girlfriend, and she was dressed as Cortana. She was basically naked except for, like, little cover-ups over, like, her chest and, like, a thong, and then the rest of it was body paint. And she was freezing. I felt so bad for her.
I was going to ask, is there a way that you could do it with like latex and then body paint the latex?
I think I would still prefer to do the silicone because you wear latex too long, and I know at least for me, my body doesn't like having like full body latex like that. It doesn't breathe, and of course silicone doesn't breathe either. But silicone bends and stretches better than latex. Latex has a tendency to only go so far before it rips.
Okay.
And it seems to tug at certain things.
I'm sorry, what, honey?
It seems to tug at certain things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, silicone's just the better bet when it comes to full body. Plus, with latex, body sweat can actually deteriorate it very quickly. Some of our costumes aren't wearable anymore after just one weekend of wearing them because they've been disintegrated.
Yeah. For the both of you,
Mm-hmm.
who is your all-time favorite cosplayer?
Oh, tough question. Who do I follow? I don't know his name, but I recently saw a cosplayer that did an amazing Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon 2. It was impeccable. I want to say I really like some of the cosplayers in Japan and Korea. They put so much into it, and they really just become the character. But I really can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
And Carl, who would you say is yours?
Carl? I think he went dead again. I could be mean and say that he absolutely adores Miggy, but...
Now, how many judges do you say are normally judging a contest?
From the ones I've been to, I'd say there's usually about 3, so they can break up and not have a stalemate in judging. And I know that when I was a judge last year at A-Fest here in Dallas, and it was kind of nice because my specialty is prop making, special effects, so I could bring that knowledge to the group. One woman was like an amazing seamstress. She'd been doing it for over 40 years, and so she had that. And then the third member, she was very into theater, and so she had all that knowledge to go to it, plus wig work, so we could discuss with each other and really figure out overall what was amazing about each costume. So I prefer it when there's an odd number of judges.
Agreed.
Now,
I'm sorry, I keep bumping.
It's okay, I'll talk for Carl too.
Yeah. She knows how I feel about things and junk.
if you don't mind, I'm going to take a minute to do a couple of shout-outs for the patrons that shared the show.
Okay.
I want to give a thanks to Lady Clan for Life for sharing the show, Real Women of Call of Duty, Elite Skilled Gamers, Intergalactic Geek Alliance, Geek Club, Avengers Mansion by Intergalactic Geek Alliance, The Batcave by Intergalactic Geek Alliance, The Nerd Goddess, Cosplay, Anime, and Gaming, and to a couple of groups that are cosplay groups, and they allow me to go ahead and share my shows when I have cosplayers on them. One is Facebook Con. Another one is just called Cosplay. And then there's Dragon Con.
Woo, Dragon Con.
Oh, and my bad, it's Facebook Comic Con. I had to correct that. So thank you to all the pages and the groups for already sharing my shows. Appreciate it. Carl, were you able to have anybody share the show for you?
I was not able to check. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, this is one of the first times I've used this, so.
That's fine, sweetie. Is there anybody that you two would like to give a shout out to?
April?
Don't know if our mom's not listening or is she listening from the other room.
No.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that listened tonight and asked questions to try to get to know who we really are compared to what the show portrayed us as.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone who listened as well, and all of our supporters and friends. We're just regular cosplayers, and we have a lot to learn, and we're happy to have everyone on our side that's on our side. And I'd like to give a shout out to my buddy Devin, because I love him, and I miss him.
Senpai noticed you, Devin.
Senpai noticed you, Devin.
And you want to tell everybody where they can find you at, your Twitters, your Instagrams, and all of that?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, Shinka Studios. My Twitter handle is MoonWildFlower.
And you can find me C Martin Cosplay on Twitter, and on Instagram I am Carl Martin Cosplay.
And I don't have an Instagram, but I do have a personal website, and that's moonwildflower.com. Yeah.
So, I want to... Go ahead, hon.
I have one more question from Cassidy Whitlock, and I want to know because I watched Doctor Who. Have you ever watched Doctor Who? And if so, who is your favorite Doctor?
We love Doctor Who, and I'd have to say Tennant is my doctor. And actually, when that first episode came out 2 summers ago with the Silence, I immediately started working on that Silence head that's in some of our pictures. I wanted to be one of the first people to have it up.
I do have one more question, and then after this, if there's no more from the viewers, I'm going to go ahead and end the show.
Okay.
At Animazement, which is here in North Carolina, every May, we always have Doctor Who people, and one of the kids, well, anyhow, when he was 16, he created shoot, what is it called? What is that robot on Doctor Who that keeps on wanting to kill Doctor Who and talks funny and has that?
Dalek?
Yes.
Dalek?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
My mind just goes at times when I want to say certain things. What do you think? And it actually works. It moves with a robot and stuff. What do
Mhm.
you guys think of somebody using that along with their cosplay in a contest?
We've actually seen a lot of people enter with Daleks and winning with just the Dalek with nothing else. Because it takes a lot to build those.
Have you ever seen the K9 before?
I think we've seen one or two of them. They're not as prominent.
I was
As
really
the
curious
Dalek. Yeah.
because I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, the kid comes every year with that, and I just get a kick out of it. And then we
Mm.
have another one with a K9 that he built, and another kid built, and I just love them. Travis, is there any more questions before we end the show, hon?
Not that I see. I have a question. What is your favorite food to eat at con?
Curry. Carl? Carl, what's your favorite food to eat at cons?
How about your favorite video game food? Where you're gaming?
Doritos. We've had late night gaming sessions for Halo, and I can go through an entire bag all by myself.
Cool. Which flavor though? Which flavor?
Cool Ranch, of course.
Thank you.
Like those Cool Ranch tacos at Taco Bell? Yeah.
I like those. I don't like the regular ones. I like the Cool Ranch ones.
Yeah.
Fourth meal. Fourth meal. That's where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
I did want to end the show with him here.
Okay, but quick, here he is.
Are you here, Carl? I don't think he fully connected. Do you want to go ahead and say goodnight, sweetheart? April?
Carl? Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me on the show. It was awesome being here, and thank you everybody who watched and listened.
Carl, are you here to say goodnight? No.
Carl says goodnight to everybody. He's sorry about the bad internet connection.
At least he made it through most of the show, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an achievement.
Carl? And Travis, do you want to go ahead and say goodnight, hon?
Good night for everybody that watched. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to both April and Carl Martin for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it. I enjoyed it immensely. And I look forward to seeing more of you and hopefully to having both of you on the show again.
Sure, we'd love to.
Everybody, please make sure that you check out the website, the Facebook page, Instagrams, the Twitters, and her, especially her site for her her artwork and her Deviant. Carl, are you back? Well, we are going to go ahead and end the show. This is Lady Rage signing off.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.